Hi everybody, Nigel here from Nigel's Modelling Bench, and if I haven't already said it to you all once, I'll say it again. Happy New Year. It's what is it today? It's the 11th of January, so getting well into the year now. I've got another review for you today, and I believe it's a tool review. I've had a box arrive, and all I can see on the front is it's come from Premium Hobbies down in Weston-super-Mare, sent from Ed. Now I have opened the box. I've opened the box to check that it wasn't a Christmas present or something from Ed. I didn't want to sit here and say I'm going to do a tool review and open it up. It's a Land Rover mug or something, or £1 million. But it's going to be very much appreciated, as are all the contributions I get from Ed and other companies. And from you guys as well on Patreon and PayPal. Thank you very, very much. So what have I had from Ed so far? It's all been reviewed. This is the company here, Premium Hobbies, and they've got a website, premiumhobbies.co.uk. There is no actual physical shop that you can go and browse, but he's based in Weston-super-Mare, and you're welcome to go and collect from him if you so wish. He's also got a phone number on his website, and you can phone him up and speak to him. He sort of specialises in a lot of Infini products. You can see I've done all the cutting mats here. This is the one I use the most. Well, in fact, it's the only one I've used so far. All I've really done since I've had these is the Land Rover and the Book. He sent me these flexible elastic sanding films, and these are fantastic. They go from 220 grit up to 2500 grit, and they're for use with his Premium Hobbies sanding kit. You basically take these double-sided tape and you stick them on the back, and you can see that on there you've got all the different numbers going down, so you can see, and they're really, really hard. They've got a lovely sharp edge on them for getting into corners and stuff. And as you'll see, since I've had these probably, I don't know, maybe October time I think I got them, I've used them and not really used much else at all. He also sent me these sticks here, which are the Premium Ultra Precision Soft Sanding Stick. They're called the Matador. They are amazing. It says no deformation due to temperature, and the particles never fall off. And you kind of read that and you think that's just a gimmick surely, but honestly they are really, really good. They don't clog. I've washed these under the tap just to see that they're waterproof, but this is the 400 grit, and all you do is wipe on your jeans and it sort of cleans it up. Now they do feel as though they're smoothing off slightly, but honestly the amount of use that thing has had, it's incredible. I must get myself some more. I don't tend to use the finer grits, I guess because I'm a bit of an animal, but I'm sure I will going forward. And then he also sent me these here, which are the softback sanding sponge sticks. Again, these go from 220 up to 4000 grit, and the white one there, I mean, that's basically like a piece of paper. Incredible, really, really good quality. I tend to use the 600 most, and also the, I think this is 400,000, sorry, 600 and 1000. I use those the most. And again, wipe on your jeans, cleaned up, gone. You can see there's some white on there. Wipe on the jeans, gone. Again there, gone. Okay, so really, really good products. Very, very well made. The other thing I've noticed I like with these is they don't tend to wrinkle up. Like when you look at the Flory sticks here, and I'm not knocking Phil Flory's sticks, I think these things are brilliant. You get this with any product. This is not just Flory sticks, but when you actually fold them, you can see you kind of get this creasing up, and then you end up with this lump, and if you're sanding very fine parts it can sort of break them off. So that is one of the downsides of these softer sanding sticks, or these skinny sticks if you like. So yeah, that's something to watch out for when you're using these. But I mean they're great. The Flory sticks are wonderful. I use this one quite a lot, these skinny sanding sponges, because they do wrinkle up, but they don't hold the shape after they've wrinkled like the others do. There's another one there which is they wrinkle up as well, you can see. I mean, if you look along there you can see that's really rough, that surface, and you're sanding stuff and it just it could knock the detail off or even break the part off. So yeah, these don't do that. Really, really good. Neither do these, but then I don't bend them. So that's the stuff that Ed has sent me already. He's also sent me these. This is the Premium Hobbies 3-bank for your Tamiya extra thin cements, and there's the single one there. They're is a tolerance issue. We talked about this when I reviewed them. This one here, this bottle here, is smaller than those, so it kind of comes out quite easily. A little bit of blue tack in the bottom, push it down, and then it stays in there. And you can see here where it's pushed the labels up on some of these, where they're so tight. You can see it rips the label up. So if you have got a tight one, cut the label off, or just push it in. I mean, I haven't managed to split these, and these are really tight in there. That one's probably about the best, that's the most perfect fit. This one here, I could hardly pull out. Oh, there we go. You can see how much it's ripped off of that one. So, and I've torn the tape away there to make it fit. But obviously, the glass manufacturer needs to have a tolerance. And when Ed makes these, he has to cope with that tolerance. He also makes them for the Mr. Cement bottles as well, which are a lot bigger, so a lot bigger footprint. So have a look on the website, and don't forget, if you see this on here, you can use the code NMB10, that's Nigel's Modelling Bunch 10, and you will get 10% discount off of everything you buy. And that's even sale items. So if he's got something which is already reduced by 30%, he'll take another 10% off. So yeah, NMB10 is the code to use. And I mean, that brings this set here, believe it or not, this set of sanding sticks without the abrasive paper, it brings that down to about £9. And that's got to be a bargain in anybody's book. So yeah, really, really good. So I've waffled on enough. Here's the box that I've received. What's in here? So we've got some pots of stuff. It looks like MRP paints in there. And we've got some more bottles of stuff here. Again, it looks like MRP. There's a Premium Hobbies card there, and you can see on that, that's the premiumhobbies.co.uk. Some candy. Some more paint. Yeah, they are MRP paints. Look, we'll have a look at those in a minute and see what they do. We won't be testing those in this video. Oh, I can see some more Infini stuff here. What's this? Premium Zebra sanding sticks. These are 100 grit up to 800 grit, and these look like they're just a bigger version of the Matador. Fuji Star type RCA abrasive papers. Now, I don't know what the big selling point is with these, but we'll have a look at those. And there's something else here in Infini. What's this down here? Oh, we've got photo-etch. What's this? I think that's, yeah, that's it. That's the box empty. So this is a set of premium ultra precision sanding sheet of sticker type. So we've got a full set of 8 sheets. Double-sided tape is applied to the German-made Matador. So this is the Matador sheets again. So this is basically the same as this. No, it's not, because this is elastic. This is stretchy. This is going to be Matador sanding sheets. So these are going to be ideal for use with this, because it looks like they've got a double-sided tape on them, and they're not made to be flexible. So this stuff is elasticated, and you can stretch it around things. These obviously just need to be flat. So if you buy that set and that set together, you're going to have a really, really good sanding set. And it looks like what we've got here is the alternative to the skinny sticks I was talking about, because we can basically cut these off of the sprue, and then we can, using this, cut it into strips and glue it on and stick it onto there. How wonderful is that? Okay, so looking at these two here, I've just had a look on the website. It took me ages to find this one. This is actually a full set with the actual photo etch sticks in. So you're getting 8 sheets of the sticky backed Matador paper. I can assure you, from using these sticks here, this Matador stuff is amazing. It's really good. So we're getting 8 sheets of that. What size are they? They're roughly, what are they? 90 something by 225 long. So yeah, really, really good. Really, really good quality paper. I know before I even use it. And then you've got the obviously the self-adhesive sticky on the back. So I say again, perfect for using with this one. So this is £21.95 British pounds for this set, and that includes these photo etch fingers. So we'll get those out and have a look in a minute. And then these actual sanding sticks, they're called the zebra sticks. It looks like they're just a standard hard sanding stick for use on general modelling. And as I say, they go from 100 grit up to 800 grit. So they're perfect for your sort of basic scale modelling, sanding away sprue nibs and stuff, and sanding, you know, flat faces to get to the fuselage halves and stuff. Really, really good for that. They're not soft, they're hard, which is good. I like a hard sander rather than the soft. These soft sticks like these here, again you can see how these are all wrinkled up, they're wonderful, but the trouble is if you've got the edge of a fuselage or something and you sand it with that, you will end up with a radius, whereas with a hard stick, something like this big hard stick, you will get a nice flat face. And the same goes if you're using emery or a sheet of wet and dry. If it's not glued down, it will do this as it's sanding, and it will give you radius edges. So let's have a look at these. This is a pack of 6, and as I say, these are £7.50. But if you use my code NMB10, that'll knock 75p off of that, so that makes them £6.75. Oh yeah, these are really nice. That's a 600 grit. I'm going to be using these a lot. It's basically a wider version of these. They're about the same hardness. If you watch my builds, you'll have seen me using these a lot. They're about the same hardness. They're the same thickness, but this is actually, their big selling point here is that this is the German Matador paper that doesn't actually wear out. And what they're saying here is this is the manufactured using Fuji-Star RCA abrasive papers by Sankyo Rikagaku in Japan. So obviously these are very good quality. I don't know whether they're going to be better or worse than these, whatever. I mean, they're bigger, which is just going to be handy for bigger kits. But you know, get both, have both on board there. They're wonderful. But this is a hard sanding stick, so you've got a nice hard surface with which to do your sanding on. And that's about all I can say with this. 150 grit there, which is obviously a lot coarser. It's going to do the job really, really nice. And if you watch my builds, I will be using these exclusively in those builds. And what I will do, when I start my next build, I will actually use these and these only. So there we go. So that's your zebra sticks. Really good quality, and for £6.75 for the 6 there, that's working at just over £1 each. And I think you'll admit that for a very high quality product like Infini is, that is an absolute bargain. So this set here, £21.95. Don't forget NMB10. You can take £2.20 off of that, or £2.19 or whatever. So yeah, you'll end up paying less than £20. So about 19.80 actually. So basically, this is 8 of these sanding sticks. Got something stuck in there. I don't know what that is. And so let's get the whole lot out. So we've got 8 of the sanding sticks here, and we've got these photo-etch little file, and they are really rigid. Okay, so this stuff is, as I've already mentioned about 3 million times, it's got a adhesive backing on it, making it absolutely perfect for these. And you would probably cut them that way round, so you could basically put that on top of there, cut around it, job done. Or you could cut it into strips of the right length or of the right width. Maybe best do it that way probably. And then basically just stick them on. So perfect for use with those. And then the other thing I need to say, with all of these Infini products, what I'm showing you here are sets. So this is a set of 6 from 100 grit up to 800 grit. You can buy packs of just 1 grit, so you don't have to have the full set all the time. So like me, if you only use the 600 and the 400 out of these, which I tend to use all the time, I could just go and buy the 600 and 400 again to refresh the set. I think also Ed is coming up with some 3D printed holders for these to stand the sticks in, which will be invaluable rather than having them in these packets all the time. I keep them in the packets so that I know what they are, because Generally my sanding sticks sit in coffee pots like that, and I don't want to get them confused with the other sticks I've got. So so basically what we've got here is a photo etched set of holders. So basically what we do is we stick those onto there and we use them as a little skinny stick. So if we start off here, if I cut one of these off, okay, so I got that off of the sprue. I ended up using these, I bought these on eBay. They're only a couple of quid, and they're basically nail clippers, but they're great for photo etch because they got the ends that go in, like this, and also because they're so cheap, you don't mind wrecking them. But you can see that I've just cut through that thick stainless, and it hasn't damaged them at all. So, and then I've just filed them off, filed the ends off with a metal file. This is a very rigid material, so it's going to be dead handy for using as a skinny stick. So I'm going to start off with the 600 grit, and as I said when I used the elasticated paper before, start cutting from this end. If you cut this off 600, then you won't know which grit's which. So I'm going to start from this end. So basically I'll grab a rule. I know it's 5mm wide and it is 40mm long. So I'm going to basically cut a 5mm wide strip off of here. Here's my knife. So we'll make a mark there, and we'll make a mark there. The noise you can possibly hear in the background is my dog underneath the bench just finishing off her chew. So a couple of light passes, and that's separated from there. And then it's because it's abrasive, it's kind of frictioned itself onto the bench. So I'll cut that there. That's 40mm. Just cut that off of there, like so. And then what I'm going to do, I can't pick it up, I have any nails on my nails, excuse me, my hands are a hell of a state. I've been doing a lot of work on my Land Rover, which is all dirty and oily and greasy and everything, so as a result my disgustingly bitten short fingernails take the brunt. So what I'm going to do here is a little trick you learn when you start to use vinyl and stuff. Fold this back, don't remove it all from the back, fold this back, and then what you can do is lay this on the top like this, and then get the end perfect like so, and then stick it down, and then all you've got to do is lift that up, grab that backing, peel it off, and then you can roll this down. So now we've got a 5mm wide 600 grit. Now if you wanted to, what you could do is now cut another piece off and have it on the other side. I'll just do this one side for now, and then what we've got there is a very rigid sanding stick. I'm going to go and find some plastic parts to sand and then show you basically what they're good for. Okay, so got that all on there now. I've also taken out the 3mm wide, and I've stuck some 400 on there, and as you can see I've made it a little bit too wide. So to keep a nice square edge for going into corners, I've got some parts here out of the spares box. What I'm going to do is just trim the paper down. So I can come down around this side and just with the knife just trim the paper away like so, so that we end up with a nice square edge, so we can go up to edges and stuff and keep it nice and clean. And then what I've also decided to do is stick the pieces on the back, other than have all these little bits of self-adhesive wet and dry lying around. So basically stick that on there like so, and then, oh, that did go. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, I think I've got a cold coming, and if it's anything like the one I've heard about that's going round, it might put me out of action for a few days, so we shall see. I've heard stories about people that can't even move off the sofa, which is going to be such a shame. Well, it will be a shame with the bloody rubbish we got on television in this country, but that's another story. Bloody BBC. So anyway, there we go. Right, so I've trimmed that off now. So get rid of that paper. So now what I've got here is a 400 grit on the 3mm wide, and I've got 600 grit on the 5mm wide. Now I've managed to get that out of shape like that. Oh, so you can just move them around. So basically what these are going to be really handy for is like on this part here. Okay, now this part here is the belly, an alternative belly off the Tamiya Spitfire. So I want to get that sprue nib off of there, so I'm just going to use these cheap nail cutters because they're here. I'll get my Tamiya cutters actually. Right, and then so with the 5mm I can go in there. Now because these are hard, if I use a sanding stick like so, it's, although they're very hard, they're also flexible, so you might end up with this radius edge I was talking about earlier. But with this I can basically just pull on that like so and end up with a perfectly flat mating face, and the sprue nib has been removed. So as you can see there, when you look close up, you can see it's still a slight amount, still a slight trace there. You can see you get a nice square edge. There's no rounding off of any corners or anything. So so that's that, and then obviously the same again on the back of there. But you wouldn't be able to get in with a normal, you know, this is what you might call a normal sanding stick, or something like this that you get from your nail shop. You know, you can't get in there to do it. So these things are really handy for that. And as I say, because they're hard, you're also not going to be radiusing things off. Now again, you see on the front here we've got this sprue nib here. Now it's critical that we get this nice, because this is going to sit right up behind our spinner. So we can take this hard stick, and because it's hard, it's not going to go radiusing anything off, it's not going to go wandering, it's not going to make the surface undulate, it's just going to remain flat as long as you don't go mad with it and keep it square. What we should find is that we get, there we go, a perfectly removed sprue nib without any radiusing or losing any of the sharpness of that corner. And again, I mean, you've got the finer grits here. You could stick a finer grit on top of that, or whatever. You could buy yourself a few of these sets, and as you can see, we've got 10mm, 5mm, 3mm, 2mm, and then the triangle, and that's going to be really good for getting into corners. These are going to be especially handy, I think, for removing ejector pin marks in awkward places. And because they're hard, like I'll show you here now, I've shown you this lots of times before, if you use soft sticks on stuff like ejector pin marks, you will end up producing on the surface, you've got the surface comes along and your ejector pin marks like that, you will end up producing that, because the ejector pin will push the sanding stick away and the sanding stick will run into the plastic on the sides. With these, that can't happen because it's hard. It can only remove the upper surface, the raised surface of what it is you're sanding, and as you can see, it's not running into the side at all. And if I keep on sanding, as we see the pen disappear, we can see, I mean, obviously you would use the 10mm one for this, but as you see the pen disappear, you can see there that we've got a flat surface with no undulation whatsoever. And then you could come along then with your Matador sticks, say I don't know, this is 1000 grit, you could just run over that with that and polish the surface up, and it's like it was never there. Okay, so that's the sort of where these come in. Not only are they handy because they're thin, they're handy because they're rigid. You could also use this end and put paper on that end. You could have all your different grits on either sides. But yeah, again, stuff like this, these sprue nibs, remove the sprue nib. As you can see, we've got the paint on there, which is going to help display this, and we can come along and sand away until that sprue nib completely disappears. There we go, just like that. I'll show you again. If you go like this, you run the risk of actually producing an indentation, because if it tips over sideways it will sand around. So it's best to sort of go at about 45 degrees, and that's that done. Sprue nib's gone. The other thing which is handy, I found this part, it was perfect for just demonstrating. We've got flash around here, you can see, and there we've got flash around the edge. It should be clean like that one is. So we would come along with our stick and sand away the flash there. Okay, so that's that gone. Again, wipe on the jeans and it's clean, good as new. So we could go along the back and just get that flash off of there like so. But now we've got flash down in here, and as you can see this is like an undercut, so we need to get in there with this one now. Now we've got a great big ejector pin on the mark on the back, so I'm going to get rid of that. Now the 5mm is too wide to get in that gap. The 3mm is perfect, so we can get in there with that. Over to the corners, turn it round, come in that way, and as you can see we've got that flash removed into that corner perfectly. I'll just show you that close up. You can see now that flash is all gone and we've retained the square shape that we wanted. Now we've retained the square shape we wanted, so you can see there we go. Okay, so that's the good uses for them. Again, if you wanted to get rid of a sprue nib like in this stretcher, you could get in there with that. You could even use the 10mm or something like that. So again, as I say, you don't get this. I mean, you could use this sanding stick in here, but you can hear it as it goes over that folded area. It wants to snap it off. Okay, whereas with these you don't have that folding, and it can't happen because these won't bend. They're flex. As long as you don't push them too hard, they won't bend. But that's going to be so much better for stuff like that. You know, this stick flicking around on the edge, wandering around. You know, it's just a fantastic solution. So that's the sanding covered. Let's have a look at this paint that he sent me. Just one other quick thing I wanted to say about this, again with the packaging. If any photo etch, decal, or aftermarket product people are out there watching, please consider using the same bags as Infini do. Now, we all know Edard photo etch comes in these type of bags, and you know that a lot of decals come in them as well. Now, these bags have a difference. If you look, when they're open, the sticky isn't there, the sticky is there. That's sticky, that isn't. So when I'm sliding parts in and out, I'm not having it hanging up on here all the time. I'm sure one or two of you have had it where you've pulled the decals out and they've caught on there and you've ripped the surface. Whereas with these, that is not sticky at all. So if you are watching manufacturers, please change to this type of bag, because it's so much easier to put stuff in and out of and less dangerous to the actual product as well. Okay, so Ed has sent me some paints by the look of it, and it looks like they're all MRP. So he is obviously an MRP stockist. Now, I have heard lots about MRP paint, mainly from Phil Flory, because I am a member on his site, and I do enjoy his builds and stuff. And basically, I have never even held a pot in my hands. This is the first time I have ever touched MRP paints. So he's got them all bagged up and everything, which is obviously current legislation. So we've got a super clear gloss varnish, we've got a super clear matte varnish, and a tire rubber matte. Now I'm assuming these are lacquer paints, and I'm going to have to reorganize my paint rack to have them. So we've got white and black. I'm assuming they're gloss, and I've just noticed they've got these horrible plastic flip up lids. Don't use them. It's the same as the lid on these primers. I mean, this hasn't been used for a while, as you know. I haven't been doing any modelling. When I flip this up, you can see all that dried crap in there. That comes out in your airbrush. Don't use the lids, use a pipette in the pot, just screw the lid back down. So we've got a super gloss black and a super matte black, and these are actually acrylic lacquer paints for airbrush. acrylic lacquer. How can you have acrylic lacquers? Please tell me, guys, are these acrylic or are they lacquers? So we've got a super clear semi-matte varnish and a super clear semi-gloss varnish. Okay, never heard of those two terms before. And then we've got here 3 larger bottles, and this is a fine surface primer white for plastic, metal, wood and resin. That's good to know. We'll do some tests on that and see how good it is. And then we've got a fine surface primer black, and we've got a fine surface primer grey. So let's get one of these open. I'll see what they're like. Obviously, I'm not in this video. I'm not going to be doing any tests. I will do another video. And I think these are a very strong lacquer paint. God blimey, yeah. That smells very much like a cross between Mr. Colour Leveling Thinners and cellulose. It looks like it's a very thin paint. You can see in the bottom there, all I've done is shaken it for a few seconds and it's already, you know, the crap is off, the sediment is off the bottom. So this is it Mr. Paint or MRP Paint or MRP Ain't or whatever, I don't know. Dangerous fumes using well ventilated and use protective means. Store in original packaging between 5 and 25 degrees and in a ventilated space. Surface primer is suitable for plastic, metal, wood and resin. Shake until contact is well mixed. Apply on clean, grease-free and dry surface. Now, I'm intending to get the Hellcat back out, so I'm thinking this is going to be perfect for that. But with the cold weather and everything, I don't want the window open, and I don't use my extractor without a window open because I don't really want to cut a hole in the wall of my house. So one other thing I want to look at here. This is my Badger paint stirrer that I swear by. Is the bottle? Yes, it is. Yeah, easily. Because that's one of the problems, that if you use the Vallejo paint, you can't get that into the top of the pot. So, yeah, thank you very much, Ed. Absolutely blown away. I didn't expect this. I knew I had some new Infini products coming, but not this. So, I will do a video on these, but I won't do a very extensive video on them because I believe MRP paints have probably been done to death on the internet. But I will have a look, and certainly what I will do in builds, like for instance on the Land Rovers I'm doing, I will use, well, on the I'll use the primers on them, that's certain, and I will also use probably the tire rubber black for the chassis on the short wheelbase, so we see how we go with that. In fact, that does look very, very grey. And like I say, the biggest problem now is I've got to sort my paint rack out so that I can fit these on there. Maybe get rid of a couple of the aerosols that I've got on there so I can get these MRPs stood up there. But yeah, thanks for sending me those, Ed. I've only just made my paint rack and now it's not big enough already. And if I like them, I'll be buying loads more. So the only thing I am worried about is the stink. I think they're probably going to be a summer paint only, but I'll be looking forward to using that gloss varnish. We all know the issues we get with gloss varnishes. Most of them aren't. Is this a do not shake or is it a shake one? Shake until content is well mixed. That's okay then. So some of these clear products you mustn't shake them. Yeah, that's not so bad. It's certainly not aqua gloss, but that's not so bad. But I have got a little spray booth that I use as long as I can open the window. So anyway, thanks for watching this, and thanks very much to Ed from Premium Hobbies for sending me all this stuff. And I'll say again, any products you see on his website, use the code NMB10 and you will get 10% discount. So thanks very much for watching. As I say, all these products are all on the Premium Hobbies website. Don't forget to use the code NMB10 and you will find you'll get 10% off everything on the site, even stuff that's already that's already in a sale. And as I say, you can get all of these Infini sanding sticks and sponges and cutting mats and everything, and you'll also get a sweet with them too. So yeah, careful of those, they pour fillings. I always give them to the guy across the street's got a couple of daughters, and I always give them to them, but I have to wait until I get 2. So anyway, I'll say goodbye now while the names and everything are scrolling. Thank you very much to everybody who has actually donated or contributed to the channel. As I say, all of the money so far has gone into a pot. It's going to be buying a camera. After that, we'll be buying some more equipment and maybe even put it towards some kits. I may even start to do a collection of your money sort of in a separate account to see if we can build up enough to get that Wings Lancaster when it comes out. Maybe let's wait and see for that. So I'm really looking forward to that kit. That is going to be, I think for me, the kit of the year, because it's Wingnut Wings. People buy the HK Lanc and then they buy a load of extras for it. I think what we'll find is with the Wingnut Wing kits, everything's going to be in the box. We won't need anything. Maybe some fabric seat belts. I don't know. The Wingnut Wings ones will probably be absolutely fine. So anyway, as I say, thanks for watching. Thanks for all your kind donations. And I hope you go to Premium Hobbies and buy some of this stuff. Apparently you've been buying it in your droves. So you obviously like what you're seeing, and it is the products are great. These Infini sanders, they've actually, you hear people say about stuff that this stuff has changed my life. Infini sanders haven't changed my life, nothing like, but they've certainly changed my sanding, if you like. Whereas I used to be concerned about going in with a stick because I'd put a rounded corner in or scour something up or whatever. I go in with these things with all the confidence that they're not going to bend or break or get those wrinkled up edges or anything on them. So anyway, I've waffled on enough. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all soon with another build video. Bye for now.